There are a lot of bees out here, and the only color bees can see is red. I have a problem.
Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes! Eyes! Ah! Ah!
So, we're not even 30 seconds into this video yet, and already you've used an overused internet meme from a movie that nobody actually likes unironically. Because this reads to me like a book that we're not even a minute in, and already you've given up.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm sorry for any noise in the background. My neighbors are doing construction and it's annoying the crap out of me, but I can't really do anything about it, so yay. I am here to talk to you about feminism.
Oh goody, I love it when an attractive lady talks to me about politics. I find it very stimulating.
Ah, great. Another angry, cisgendered, straight, white man condescendingly explaining to us why feminism is the devil's anus. This is going to be a painful video, isn't it? How long is this video anyway? Hang on one moment, I'll be right back.
Disclaimer, this video serves as a criticism and as such is under the protection of fair use. Okay, so I'll be reading off a script for most of this video behind the camera, as he makes a lot of points that are rambly, and if I try to show my face and try to say everything I wrote down naturally, then I'll stumble over my own words. Now, before I lose my brain cells by responding to him, I'd like to give a few shoutouts. The first is to Micro's Island for pointing out how out of touch with reality Charmingman93 really is. The second is for Microwave Me Show for helping write the script, and my final shoutout is to my friend Sammy, who has been very supportive of my video responses. Now that that's out of the way, let's actually respond to him.
Let's start today's video off with today, the Supreme Court ruled gay marriage legal in all 50 states. Now, this is just a gigantic leap in the best direction. I mean, go America today. We did great.
Yeah, good, whatever. I mean, you legalised gay marriage, who cares? This must be a very old video. But anyway, where was I? Ah, yes. That's nothing to do with the topic at hand. Please, stay on topic, girl, alright?
So then, why are you responding to this old video then? Anti-feminists often respond to old videos for some unknown reason, and act as if they were posted just last week. And actually, LGBT rights is a part of intersectional feminism. You know, the boogeyman of the men's rights movement.
Waving rainbow flag. And I know we still have a long way to go, but I think that it's just a perfect time to celebrate that we did take a big step.
Yay, the human race progressed, but now feminism must regress us in this other direction. I still think you need to get back on topic, girl. Do even on topic.
I actually recommend taking your own advice to heart, my friend. Just a minute ago, you were commenting on the background music in the video.
Also, that music, is there a ukulele in there or is it just synthesizers? Either way, it's annoying.
Now, today's video is a rudimentary guide to feminism, and there are many stereotypes to the word feminist or feminism.
Oh yeah, stereotypes, but they're grounded in something called truth.
Stereotypes are more accurately grounded in a perception of truth, which may or may not have varying degrees of accuracy. Stereotypes can evolve over time, though. Up until 2001, the Middle East was stereotyped as being a mystical fairy tale land, but after 2001, the stereotype shifted to terrorism and extremism. While some elements of both exist, it's ignorant to assume that the Middle East is full of nothing but harems and terrorists.
And I think we should go through those first, just to rule them out. I've heard man-hater, angry, lesbian, ugly, non-shaver, non-maternal, bra burners, humorless, feminazi.
Just to point out before I interject once more, feminazi's actually a type of feminist, not a stereotype.
It can be both, actually. Feminazi is a word coined by Rush Limbaugh to describe what he perceived as radical feminists. I personally avoid the word and prefer radfem or straw feminist because Rush Limbaugh would most likely even consider you to be a feminazi.
Abortion activists? Now, not all of them are negative.
All those so-called stereotypes are all true traits of feminism. There are the man-haters, the people who don't shave, the abortion campaigners, or whatever you call them. Even though it's okay to be pro-choice, there are many non-feminists who are pro-choice, such as myself. That's not really a stereotype. Again, that's really maybe a type of feminist. I don't know. I'm sure there are some who are pro-life, though not many. Sadly, a lot of them are true. In fact, they're all true. It just depends on who you're talking to and what type of feminism they espouse. But of course, you're going to teach us how to be a true feminist, not the Scotsman.
The problem I have with the no true Scotsman fallacy always being brought up is that it ignores the fact that a group can decide what qualifications and criteria for membership is. Someone could claim to be a Christian and believe that Santa Claus is the second coming of Christ, and that the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny are other members of the Holy Trinity. But are they actually Christians? They may fulfill the basic membership required, belief in God and Jesus, but to claim them as representatives of Christianity would be a falsehood. Also, let's bring up the fact that anti-feminists will often point to quotes from radical feminists as proof that feminism is bad. It would be akin to claiming that Scotland is an evil country and all Scots are murderers because some Scotsmen have done something heinous. Just like the murderers do not represent Scotland as a nation, the kill-all-men feminists do not represent feminism as a whole either.
Yes, many feminists are lesbians, many feminists are pro-choice, many feminists don't find it necessary to shave as much as some people may like, but I mean, that's all personal preference, and it's all...
I hate to be harsh on this lovely girl, but I have to be. But you just said that lesbianism is a preference, like a choice preference, not like a sexual preference that is natural to that person. Just thought I'd point that out. Ooh, you just dug the first few feet of that hole you're gonna bury yourself in. Rest in peace, young feminist. You were savable.
So, she misspoke, and you saw that as a crack in the veneer to exploit while ignoring the intent of her message. Maybe a quick correction would have been fine, but that part, you were savable, implies that despite claims of feminism being a cult, it's anti-feminism that's actually the cult.
We just don't like what they talk about. We don't like what they espouse. Now, obviously, it depends if they're equity feminists or intersectional, third wave, second wave, whatever, it doesn't matter. It all depends on what they're saying. And if we don't like what they're saying, well, we beat them down. And that's not because of what they look like or what they find attractive. It's all their ideas at the end of the day. I think the distinction needs to be made. And if people do that, they're cunts.
So, why aren't you going after the actual bad feminists? I do agree with you that bad feminists exist, and that they're destructive and harmful to the movement. But this girl is clearly not one of them. I know it's easier to find small vloggers calmly expressing their ideas, but attacking people you should see as allies is actually counterproductive.
But I mean, since we've gotten past all the stereotypes, I think we should actually ask the question, what is feminism? We're going to the simplest definition of feminism, which is the dictionary.
Ugh, really? You're gonna go through all this? You just said that we're gonna go through all the stereotypes. Now we've gone through all the stereotypes, let's go to another stereotype, using the dictionary definition to find out what feminism is.
I hear a lot of anti-feminists cite the dictionary as an invalid source of information, but if we can't use a dictionary to define words, then how do we? Isn't the purpose of a dictionary to give a short and quick definition of the word's meaning? It's like saying because some dogs bite people, that the dictionary definition of a dog should be amended to include that. No, it shouldn't.
Wait for it. Feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of political, social, and economic equality to men. That is the legit dictionary definition.
If only they legitimately followed this legit definition of feminism, the world might be a better place, even though I actually would question the legitimacy of this dictionary definition because it just seems to be somewhat untruthful and somewhat very biased. Because last time I checked, the first wave feminists were not really about economic equality. At least when it came to poor girls, they were not interested at all. In fact, they didn't even want them to have the vote. They didn't even want poor men to have the vote. They just wanted what property owners who were women, who probably already could vote technically anyway, to have all that power along with the rich men and leave everybody else in the gutters.
Perhaps things were different in Britain, but here in the US, many such as Susan B. Anthony were campaigning for all women to be able to vote. Sure, some states allowed women to vote already, such as Wyoming, but the 19th Amendment made it so that all women could vote. Have you ever heard of the suffragettes?
What, so it's much bigger than just that definition? Do you mean there are other types of feminism that don't go by that definition?
Yes, there are different types of feminists. Why are you acting so surprised?
Who is a feminist? I mean, obviously it's someone who believes in gender equality.
Yeah, Valerie Solanas totally believed in gender equality. Gloria Steinem believes in gender equality. Andrea Dworkin believed in gender equality. The National Organization for Women totally believes in gender equality so much that they oppose shared parenting.
And Dylan Roof and James Holmes totally represent all Americans, right? I agree. There are some feminists, like the women you mentioned, that don't believe in gender equality. However, you're falsely implying that they represent the movement as a whole.
What I mean by that question is more who can be a feminist. And this question, the answer to it is absolutely everybody. Every single person on this planet can be a feminist. You can be a feminist if you're a woman, if you're a man, if you don't identify with either of those genders. If you are living under a rock in the middle of the Sahara Desert, you can be a feminist.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that.
Charmingman93, ladies and gentlemen. He has no idea how to entertain his audience, so he throws out a random internet meme that has no purpose to the video he's responding to, instead of finding actual evidence to back up his claims.
Intersectional feminists would find that very, very, very problematic, young lady.
No, I don't. I find that pointless and a waste of time.
Now, to answer your point, yeah, good. You think that anybody can be a feminist. That's good. At least you're not a fence sitter, and at least you're not someone who says no. Nobody but women can be feminists. That's good. You're a nice person. Well done. But sadly, you are kind of a minority, really. Sadly, you are on your own with a few other people. Good luck trying to wrestle control back from those others who are crazy, man-hating supremacists who want to control the world.
Sorry, but you've got your facts backwards, especially since you've provided no actual evidence to back these claims up. It's actually the minority who are the man-haters, while the majority are the ones who are a bit more willing to have a discussion and listen to the problems of men and offer solutions to help.
There is so much injustice on gender equality, racial equality, sexuality, prejudice.
Yeah, after gender inequality, none of those things have anything to do with feminism. This is a problem with feminism, right, love? You love to, fight other people's battles and appropriate other civil rights organisations and movements into your own collective because you have an insatiable urge to control things, as if feminism will answer all these questions, even though it's not equipped to deal with sexuality, and neither is it equipped to deal with race. No matter how many people like bell hooks try to include race into it, sadly, gender probably doesn't have much to do with race. That's why intersectionality doesn't really work in practice, even though in theory you think it would.
Really? Because I thought intersectionality was an egalitarian concept. Anti-feminists who use the gender egalitarian label often say they're fighting for the rights of everyone, yet say feminists can't. Why?
And I'm just going to name a few of the biggest reasons, or the most common reasons to hear. One of which is the sex double standard for guys versus girls, especially in the young generation. Guys who have sex are studs, but girls who they have sex with are sluts.
No, that's not how it works. If you have sex with loads of people without any protection, no care in the world for yourself or anybody, or hell, just only caring about yourself, you're a slut. Or in Britain, we call men who are like that manslags.
Manslags? I've never actually heard people use that term before until you said it. Could you mind providing a citation that men in Britain who do that are called manslags?
It's when you develop a bad reputation from doing these sorts of things, you become a slut/slag manslag. And that's both genders. I mean, why do we have songs about womanizers or cheaters, etc., etc., from women and men? I mean, it doesn't make much sense. So this double standard doesn't really exist.
In other words, you just justified slut-shaming. Where have I heard that before?
Clothing carries connotations and sends a message. You may not like that fact, but it is true.
Oh god, no.
If clothing had no meaning at all, we would not have a multi-billion-dollar global fashion industry.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Charmingman93 is a Teal Deer ripoff, to the point where, like Teal Deer, he's justifying slut-shaming. But unlike Teal Deer, Charmingman93 has no leg to stand on, as he provided no actual evidence to back up his claims.
Abortion legality, breastfeeding in public is seen as obscene.
Well, currently abortion is legal in the UK and America. Just because there are loud voices who are against it, it doesn't mean it's going to be made illegal again anytime soon.
There are many US states trying to pass laws of varying success to restrict abortion access and rights. So this is one of the reasons why feminism is needed. If you just let things sit the way they are, the conservatives will win, and eventually abortions will end up completely banned again.
I mean, I'm sure there are places in the Western world where women can breastfeed without the rest of the public seeing it, because you think that most people are against it. Well, you don't know if most people are against it. Have you read any polls recently? I think most people won't really care. I mean, you can't really see a tit anyway when there's a baby on it. And besides, it only takes 3 seconds and it's gone. I know what you're going to say, men can show their tits. Yeah, but men cover up too, and we can't show our cocks. If you can show your tits, we must be able to show our cocks.
Why should female nipples and male nipples be treated differently? There are plenty of places such as Ontario, Canada, where women have been allowed to go topless for decades, and no ill consequences have resulted.
But you can sell breasts on every magazine you'll find in a grocery store, drugstore, gas station.
You do realise either these women are wearing bras or they're censored by the font. You do realise that, right? You don't actually see the full breast. They're censored because that is illegal. You're not allowed to show it. And besides, so what if you're allowed to see them in certain places, like say a statue or a history book or something like that? So what? That's not really a double standard, is it?
Have you ever heard of the male gaze, dude?
Women are taught to shame themselves for being sexually active, for being sexually confident.
Women are not shamed to be sexually confident. No, they're not. Citation needed on that.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that's the funniest thing I've heard all day. You spent most of the video talking out of your ass, providing no actual evidence to back your claims up, and now you're begging her for citations? You really are a Teal Deer ripoff, as much like Teal Deer, you're a complete hypocrite.
Male sexuality is far more demonised than women's nowadays, all by feminists, and occasionally by non-feminists who are influenced by them. I'm talking about normies who are doing this because they think that this is the correct kind of research. I mean, to some feminists, and this is a lot of them, this is not a minority, every man is a potential rapist, and every man must be taught not to rape, even though that's not going to stop the ones who do, and the ones who are being taught this already know that it's wrong. Consent can be taught, sure, or at least how consent should be asked for and how it's given, etc, etc. But apart from that, why should male sexuality be demonised because of a minority of men? Well, a minority of women are being totally ignored. They can rape whoever they want and people will let them off because either the young boys or young girls ask for it, or we just don't talk about those lesbians who are getting sexually assaulted by their partners or other women at parties.
Okay, I disagree with the sentences teach him not to rape and teach her not to get raped, but I do understand the sentiment behind them. Men are not often taught as well as they should be what constitutes rape. I think both genders should be taught how to defend themselves and what constitutes consent. Also, there was a point you brought up regarding young boys being raped by women, as well as young girls being raped as women as well. Feminists are well aware that this happens and are disgusted by it. You know who isn't disgusted by it? A majority of the anti-feminist community. If a young boy gets raped by an older woman, men will laugh at him and will say that he liked it. You claim that a minority of women who commit rape are being ignored. I agree that women who commit rape shouldn't be ignored. Here's the thing. So do a majority of feminists. Rape, no matter which gender committed it, should be punishable.
For being what society calls promiscuous. Girls
Again, it's how they are promiscuous, not that they are promiscuous.
We get it. You're somebody trying to kiss Teal Deer's ass by justifying slut-shaming.
are taught to be nice and submissive lest they appear to be a bitch.
Again, citation needed. You're talking out of your ass. Women are not taught to be submissive unless they look like a bitch. All people are taught to be nice because nobody wants to be a horrible person to other people. It's the golden rule, isn't it?
You say women aren't taught to be submissive? Then why are women always taught then from the time they are girls to let the man act? In society, men act, women are. Women are taught to focus on looking pretty to attract a man, while men are taught to get involved in things like sports and war. A lot of concepts of the fairy tale romance and chivalry are based on benevolent sexism. Treat the woman like a dainty damsel in distress type stuff.
And this sexism works both ways. Men are expected not to show emotion, expected to stay strong no matter what, and God forbid they do anything that society deems to be feminine.
Again, more bloody horrible stereotypical arguments that you're supposed to be against. Look, men are allowed to show emotion. Men do show emotion all the time. Otherwise, we'd look like Vulcans. You'd see nothing but straight-faced men walking around, doing nothing, but walking around being like mindless automatons. Do you see a man laugh in the street? Yes. Do you see a man, I don't know, get scared in the street by someone who approaches him and taps him on the shoulder? Do you see him jolt and go, ah? Because that's showing an emotion. That's a temporary lapse of fear. Do you see people being happy? Do you see men being happy? Yes. You see them smiling. And also you see them sad when they're watching sports or a film. It's all about context. Men are allowed to show their emotions. What we do is we show them differently to women. We don't show them the same because we have different brains. What feminists want are men to be more like women.
You know exactly what she was saying. A man who cries is seen as weak and laughed at and mocked. A man who talks about stuff that's troubling him is ridiculed and ignored. A man who shows vulnerability is soft and not a real man according to society in general. Imagine if you're watching a football match with your friends, and during the advertisement, you start talking about your anxieties. There's a very good chance they will laugh at you and mock you, and the only way to survive is to bottle it back up, and laugh along, as if it were all a joke.
They're prosecuted, whether it's being called gay, a pussy, weak. It makes me so angry.
Nobody's prosecuted for this. Nobody is not allowed to be anything like this. Sure, young kids will bully the weaker kids, but that's how it works in both genders. Sure, it's not desirable to see someone who is out of control, who is an emotional wreck, someone who can't control themselves. Nobody really wants that in general, do they? Because it's somebody who can't be really trusted with a lot of responsibility. But nobody's against gay men unless they're homophobic bigots. Like straight men, most of us, 90% of us, have no problem with gay men. We see them as our brothers, really. Some of us do have brothers who are gay. We have no problem with them. Only bigots do. And some of those bigots are women, whether you like it or not. There is no problem with being gay.
Many times people will claim to support LGBT rights, but will then turn around and use gay as an insult. Or say that they only accept certain types of gay men. Sadly, bigotry is a lot more common in general society than many of us will like to admit. Let's not forget bisexual erasure, where a bisexual man is said to be gay, but in denial.
And stand up for everyone that you feel is being prosecuted in an injustifiable way.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't really be a feminist. You would just be someone who stands up for the rights of other people. You'd be a human rights activist. But feminists are not human rights activists because they don't care about men's issues. Like you've just shown, you don't really care because you've given me something that's not even a problem for men. Expressing emotions, that's not a problem for men. It's not. There's no societal pressure on us to not show anything. The societal pressure is to give, is to provide. We have a great burden, and emotions have something to do with that. Our problems are to do with suicide, jobs, a lower life expectancy, divorce courts, and child custody cases being extremely biased in favour of women, to the point that men are just being shafted and their rights violated. We are the number one casualty in war, the ones who suffer the most in war, the ones who are first to die. I could go on. We have loads of problems, yet that's all that feminists really care about. Our emotional well-being.
Look, when feminists say they want men to show their emotions, what they actually mean is they want us to open up and discuss the problems in our lives. Feminists are aware about men having higher suicide rates, lower life expectancies, getting shafted when it comes to both divorce court and custody cases, and being casualties of war. They realize the emotional strains that are put onto us. I personally think that if we want men's problems to be solved, we need to work with the feminists in order to make compromises. Believe it or not, if you actually talk to people who are feminists, they'll actually be very supportive of your problems and be a shoulder for you to cry on. For example, my one good friend, a man, has struggles with anxiety and depression. One person he can always turn to talk to help him with these problems happens to be a feminist. If she hated men and didn't care about men's issues, would she spend hours trying to help him feel better and find solutions to his problems?
There is always something happening that is worth hearing.
Very noble, but you yourself show a frightening lack of understanding about a lot of these issues. But, you know what? I'm not going to blame you entirely for it, because you seem like a nice girl who's just misinformed.
So, where's the information you've been talking about that will disprove her?
If you have any disagreements or arguments, please comment below. All my sources for any of this information are in the down bar, as well as a link to a Lacey Green video, her video of 50 reasons why she is a feminist.
And therein we have found the problem, ladies and gentlemen. She watches Lacey Green. The first thing you need to do if you want to know about the real problems of men and women, don't listen to Lacey Green, read a book, look at the Pew Research statistics or any other number of research statistics. Watch the news, but watch it critically. And think for yourself and research for yourself. Google is a powerful tool in the right hands with the right knowledge of how to use it.
As Kevin Logan would say, ah yes, the almost inevitable bit about Lacey Green. I don't see why she's the big boogeyman of so many anti-feminists, other than the fact that she's a popular YouTuber and therefore a big target. She doesn't exactly express radical ideas, and most of her content is aimed at girls in their teens and early 20s. Most of her stuff is harmless and focuses on sex education. Also, regarding the link that girl provided, there is a valid point that Lacey brings up in that video.
The reality that there are people who would take these words more seriously
if they were coming out of my mouth.
As for Google being a powerful tool in the right hands, would you mind using it yourself to find evidence to back your claims up? Or do you get most of your information about feminism based on what you see on Tumblr and YouTube?
I'm not sure when my next video will be or what it will be, but it will hopefully be soon. So, bye, see you later.
Goodbye, my sweet little princess. Have fun.
And that, my friends, is Charmingman93 in a nutshell. Or alternatively, Diet Teal Deer, as he tries so hard to be like Teal Deer, but ultimately falls flat.
Until next time, I'm Danny Courts. Thank you all for watching.